Well, aloha, everyone. Joshua Hayes at BigWaveTrading.com with the evening watch list and market review. First off, the market, I don't like the way it's been acting in the very short term. The quality of the signals that we have received in the last 3 sessions alone have been significantly, I wouldn't say worse, but they're definitely not as exciting or dynamic looking as they were. I haven't really been excited about any of the new long signals during this entire uptrend. I've had no hot, pretty, perfect, beautiful, whatever you want to call it, kind of charts. But I've had excellent reward risk ratio chart patterns the entire time. And most of them have been with limited flaws. That has changed in the last 3 days. The quality of the signals are lower. There's earnings that we have to worry about on the vast majority of them. And in fact, I only have 2 quality signals this evening to go over in this video lesson. And the one is a hedge, and the ad signal actually has earnings January 29th after the market close. So it's a very risky trade on that. And that being said, it's canceling perfect speculator quality. But before we get into that, just want to make mention one more time. SPY intraday, the action the last 3 days. I know intraday, I believe it's hit a new all-time high. It matched it yesterday, and it barely touched a new one today. But we have reversed off the highs for 3 once again, I'm sorry that I'm using version 7 instead of version 19. I have that open on my other computers right now. But it's reversed off the highs the last 2 days, and we're extended short term. And with that being said, the Russell 2000, which is my main index, it kind of did a little faux breakaway gap here, reversed on heavier volume. In the last 2 sessions, it's open strong, close weak. That's not a sign of a very healthy market. So keep that in mind going forward. I'm not in love with the signals lately. We are overbought short term. I believe any pullback will be contained based on the rhetoric that I see and hear on Twitter and other various social media outlets. But I am open-minded, and I want and hope and expect a pullback for better chart patterns to develop. I'll look for new long signals. If a pullback happens, we don't get signals, that's an indication that the market might get worse. So, open mind here. I believe we're going to probably continue to move higher throughout the year as long as the Fed is buying stocks and bonds via an increase in their balance sheet. They're not raising rates. Share buybacks are out there. And shorts are as aggressive as they are. I think in time we'll move higher. But what's really funny is that right now, as I make this video, I'm watching the SPY hit new aftermarket lows. I see TVIX, which is unfortunate because it's the new long signal, hitting new after-hour highs. So maybe this thing is going to move without me. Either way, let's get into what triggered and filled today. Now, the one thing, there were a lot of stops. Obviously, I'm carrying a ton of positions, have a lot of stops out there. Very active day. But despite everything that happened today with the reversal, I'm heading into Thursday session with less than 1% cash on hand. I don't know how that's possible, but it is. So let's go through each of the signals that triggered and filled today and how they look. GMS, so far so good, but I can see here, just by looking at it, it's within 6 cents away or 7 cents away of triggering my first stop. So GMS was a new long signal yesterday. It actually gapped up today. And I tell you what, it's because of the wide bid and ask spread. So if it would have gapped up today and I would have seen that the bid, ask, and price is all above where my good to cancel buy, stop, and limit level was at 29.34, I would cancel the triggered order, wait for it to pull back, and then take it. But because the bid and ask was so wide, I left it out there. GMS triggered and filled. It was the first stock to fill about 16 minutes after the open. I'm long GMS. I have my first stop here. I have a second stop here and a third and final stop here. If it violates this first stop and loses green bop, I'll be consolidating all of my stops to whatever the low is here, as long as at this level does not get taken out. But GMS holding up there. Then WH, I had a signal out here there were 2 different long signals. This one here at, not that one. Is it this one here? That looks right. 60, nope, these two. My bad. These two. 60.91 and this one right here. 61.02. This signal right here on January 8th, the 61.02 signal, that one triggered and filled. Here's how I'm now managing WH. One stop, 50% of my stops is right here. I believe this is the lowest low. My final stop is right there. If WH fails, no harm, no foul. But once again, another name that triggered. This has been happening the last 3 sessions also. Not only are my new long signals deteriorating in quality, but the ones that do trigger don't do anything. And of course, the ones that trigger that I don't get filled on, they move 30% intraday like Trill or SLNO, 2 days up 34%. Where am I in these? Not long them, because I keep getting filled in names like this that do nothing. But there's nothing I can do right now with this kind of capital situation I'm in. There's just nothing I can do. BCC is the next one to trigger and fill. Well, first off, there's nothing I can do because I can't tell you and predict the future. SLNO and Trill's going to run on me, but Seal and TNXP are going to be the two that have the offerings. Based on the charts, I would have thought that SLNO and Trill would do the offerings. TNXP and Seal, they didn't run much, but Seal was a recent speculative long position. You can see it gap down today on me. I was long that name due to an offering. What the hell? It's barely moved anywhere. Why are you guys doing an offering? Tells me how much of a piece of crap junk stock that Seal is. BCC triggered today. The long signal was here. This long signal from this date right here, 38.15, triggered and filled today. I have one stop here, 1, 2, 3 stops on BCC. But once again, BCC, after triggering and filling, did nothing. WNS was an ad signal. This one did a little bit, but I kind of intervened because it triggered, didn't fill, was straddling pretty close. 70.99 was what I wanted, but the ask was at 71. The bid would never get back below 70.99, so I took it at the market at 71.10. Since it's only 11 cents higher on a $70 stock, I just went ahead and took it at the market. So far, it's worked a little bit, but as you can see, it hasn't done much. So with WNS and the ad signal, one stop here, 1, second stop here, 2, third and final stop right there. So 33, 33, 33% at each level. The next name to trigger and filled, CTK. Look at this. I don't even know how these act. This is the first time I'm looking at them. Once again, another name to trigger, fill, go nowhere. So it's time to be aggressive with stops. Initially, I had one here and the final one here. Following the reversal, though, 50% here. The final 50%, the lowest green bot bar. So 50, 50 on CTK, but just yet another one that just doesn't work. Then COTY. This was the long signal here, 1074. Got the alert that the stock bid, ask, and price was all below 1074. Called it back on before the end of the session. It triggered and filled. My first stop loss, 50% right there. The final 50% right there on COTY. But once again, another name that triggered and filled, then ultimately didn't do anything. And then I had slightly over 1% going into the close, but actually I had over, or right around 3% plus. Nope, over 2%. But then COTY filled at 10:30 a.m. Maui time, which is 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, and then IMKTA filled at 3:33 p.m. Eastern time, and this one actually did work. And with IMKTA, it's going to be hard to see on this chart, but it's kind of splitting hairs, and I don't think that they've adjusted the dividend correctly, but maybe it has. 42.92 the low here, 42.83. So it's splitting hairs. This is where my 50% stop loss level is. This is where my 100% is actually, 41.68. So there it is there. So there's the final, the last green bot bar. That's the final 50%. The first 50%, it's kind of splitting hairs, is right there on IMKTA. But once again, a lot of long signals to trigger. Now they're just not doing anything. But at the same time, every profit stop or sell stop that hits or profit target that hits and cash is raised, these stocks are still taking them. And remember, I'm only getting long names that trigger up and through the price level, which means they're showing strength. I'm not buying them on weakness. I'm buying them on strength. So if the market was really weak, I wouldn't have any longs triggering. Because first off, maybe the market gaps up, but all the stocks gap down, never trigger up and through the price. Or even especially if the market really weakens, these stocks just won't be triggering. So just keep that in mind. This now takes us to the one new hedge signal and the one ad signal. First off, we'll go over the ad signal, NWPX. Now, NWPX was initially a long signal on this session. I need to actually pull it up on my interactive broker screen to see which one filled. I don't think it was this one. It shows that I filled at 33.24, so it couldn't have been this one. So here's the initial long position, NWPX. Did I get filled in this one? It looks like I did, because that looks like I have $6,000 worth of it. Okay, so I did get filled. So I got filled on the initial long signal in WPX, so I have a position. Here, this is what would have taken me out of some of the stops. So right here, this pullback here in the market, that took me out of some of the position with profit stops. But where was the ad signal? That must have been the ad signal right there. So it also gave an ad signal, but didn't get filled on the ad signal due to not having 1% cash available for a new long position, which, by the way, is the minimum I would ever. I can't believe I'm this small to begin with, but that's the minimum I would ever put in a trade. Pulls back. That signal is still live and out there and true. NWPX, I believe it was yesterday that it finally filled on my end on the ad side. Let me check Interactive Brokers 2 days ago. Yes, that's it. 33.43. So, man, that doesn't make sense, does it? 33.43. Where's the 33.43 signal? Golly, what a crazy fill. So I got a better fill than what I should have gotten on this one. I really don't know what's going on, guys. Forget it. Just know that yesterday, on the way up and through, I got filled on or added to my NWPX position. It shows me that I got filled at 33.43 at 11:02 a.m. Eastern time. So that's that for NWPX. So long NWPX. This is an ad signal again today. But like I said, even though it's canceling and perfect speculator quality, it has earnings on 129 after the market close. So the game plan with NWPX, it's a candle over candle price bar signal right off the 50-day moving average on heavier above average volume with a pocket pivot point signal and an increase in green bop, and it's steadily been increasing for quite a while. So the game plan with NWPX, I have a good to cancel by limit and stop level at 33.93. If it triggers and fills, NWPX, it's splitting hairs between this low and this low. So I'll go ahead and use that lowest low on this ad signal. 32.56 will be where 50% of my initial good to cancel sell stop is. My final good to cancel sell stop, if this ad signal fills, will be here at 31.68. But either way, it looks like I have a 1.5% position so far in NWPX. If it triggers and fills, I'll have 2.5% of my end of day account in this signal. But NWPX is not priority, but it is in a metals. It is a metal stock in an industry group that has a defensive nature to it. So it should be no surprise that the one and only actionable new long signal for those that can't short, which is why I always kind of focus on these. Let me get it here. There we go. Is TVIX. TVIX tried to do a long signal here, ended up failing. This is the first long signal in TVIX I've received since this signal right here, which failed and left me with little losses. And that's the good news with using a trade like this. So TVIX, I have a bullish candle off the 52-week low on heavier volume, above average volume, I should say, not heavier, above average. And I got the green bop bar. UVXY does not have the green bop bar. VIIX does not have the green bop bar. That's why they are not hedges and only TVIX is. So the game plan with TVIX for me, and it is my priority, 40.59 is the stop and the limit. The one and only cut loss level is a new 52-week low at 38.35. 35. All right, guys, I'm at the 15-minute mark, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here. I'll see you in the chat room Thursday morning. Aloha.